and everybody grieves differently. And, as Tony was talking, he said, he didn't question God. Well, I did, because I was very angry at God. I felt very betrayed. I felt like I had served him all my life, and this is how you repay me. So working through that for me took about 18 months to almost 2 years. And he took me on a journey once I became teachable. Once I feel like that all of us come to a crossroad in our grief journey where we decide how we're going to move forward. We're going to stay here, right? In the lane that I was in was bitterness, anger, anguish. I perceived it all as this was done to me. And so it took a lot of time between me and the Lord. I would listen to the book of Job. I couldn't read the Bible. I was so angry at him. The conversations that we had, it was prayers of lament, but they weren't nice prayers. So there were a lot of shouting matches, and I said things to God that, and in retrospect, this is how I feel about that. We can say, well, you shouldn't say that to God, but he knows it anyway because he knows our heart. I felt like he was a liar, and I told him he was. I said, you said you would protect my children. You said, and you lied to me. And so we had a lot of really, really hard conversations. And it was the book of Job that the Lord spoke to me. I would just hit the Bible app and hit play because I couldn't read it. I couldn't pray it like I would used to pray. There were these shouting matches that I had with the Lord. And then one day, I was sitting there. It must have been, I don't know how many times I'd listened to the whole book. I sat there and listened to the whole book. And one day when it got to the part at the end of chapter 28, when God showed up in a whirlwind to Job, it was like that particular day, it was like somebody took a megaphone and was saying the words that God was saying to Job, to me. That day, he gave me a new perspective. He helped me see who he was and who I was. And he told Job, basically, my version, I've let you and your friends lament for 38 chapters. Now it's time you're going to listen to me. And what he told me in my spirit, he's never audibly spoken to me, but what he told me was, it's time for you to start being thankful for the things you have in your life. And I said, no, thank you. Because the only thing that I wanted at that point in my time was my son back. And so I couldn't see, he wanted me to be thankful for what I still had in my life. I mean, are you crazy? That's how I felt at the time. And it was, the Holy Spirit, the hound of heaven, just wouldn't let it go.
Right.
He just stayed after me. And so I came to a crossroad in that moment that I was going to decide, was I going to stay in the bitter lane? Or was I going to decide, okay, Lord, I don't know what this looks like, but I trust you. And I say yes. I say yes. Well, that took a bit. And finally one night, in the middle of the night, he slept through the whole thing. I just got down on my knees and spent the better part of the night there. And it was really hard. He said, okay, be thankful for one thing. And I said, I don't have anything to be thankful for. And he said, yes, you do. And then once I started saying, okay, and it was kind of sarcastic, but as I began to say, I'm thankful for, and then it just kept coming and coming and coming. And hours later, when I stood up, the bitterness was gone. It was in that moment that my grief journey took a whole nother turn. And he showed me things, a few things in dreams, and just a mega amount in his word. He took me on a journey.